There's an art to flocking, staying close enough not to crowd each other, aligned enough to maintain a shared direction, and cohesive enough to always move towards each other. Adrienne Maree Brown. The Art of Flocking, Cultural Stewardship in the Parks, is a collaboration between the Chicago Park District, the Terra Foundation for American Art, Art Design Chicago Initiative. And it was inspired by writer, doula, and pleasure activist Adrienne Maree Brown, who wrote a really inspirational book called Emergent Strategy. This idea of artists and organizers working as a flock, the idea of really listening deeply to nature, really building on concepts of biomimicry and speculative fiction, learning from the lessons of Octavia Butler. These are all really foundational in Adrienne Maree Brown's Emergent Strategy, and they inspired this project.
The Art of Flocking is a combination of those readings from Emergent Strategy. It was also a combination of different artists throughout Chicago, learning from them, listening to them.
Artists like Hector Duarte, a Pilsen-based muralist and public artist, the artist collective Sapphire and Crystals, which is Chicago's first and longest standing Black women's artist collective, founded by Marva Lee Pitchford Jolly and Felicia Grant Preston in 1986.
Our summer began at the Southside Community Arts Center, where our teaching artists and facilitators had a chance to meet members from Sapphire and Crystals, both as part of a panel and as part of individual interviews, as part of a gathering, which was a day-long celebration of art, music, and culture that was hosted at the Southside Community Arts Center.
Sapphire and Crystals is a gathering of Black women's voices, Black women's ideas, Black women's talents.
Sapphire and Crystals was the first show that I had in a gallery space. So that, I was just, totally excited and pumped up. And the first one in 1987 was right here in the Southside Community Arts Center. But as more people came on and it grew, it became not just Sapphire and Crystals, the exhibition, but Sapphire and Crystals, the group.
It was one of the rare opportunities, really, for African American women artists to have an opportunity and a venue to exhibit.
A lot of us as women had similar issues with accessibility, and even quite frankly, the idea of putting a show on solo, for example, is pretty overwhelming. So when you can come together with a dozen other people and we can share responsibilities. I mean, we produced catalogs, I think, for each show, which was a lot of work. Thank you, Juarez.
Really, exactly.
But those are important documents to have, and those are important opportunities for us to speak about our own narrative.
I can remember some of the wonderful meetings that we would have at Marva's, either up in the condo or downstairs in her studio. But the kind of support that we gave each other was just, in my opinion, phenomenal.
Marva Jolly was kind of our founding mother in Sapphire and Crystals. She's a sapphire, and we were the crystals. Felicia Grant Preston and her brought a number of women together to discuss this as a collective and what we could do.
We need Black women, and you need Black women artists. If you look back at our history as a city, Black people have been a very strong vein in our creative history. If you look at the whole history of WPA and the Southside Community Arts Center, it's been a good chunk of our contemporary and modern history in Chicago has a very strong African American component. And we really can't afford to lose any part of our creative history. And especially this one here, that even though it's not codified as a brick and mortar institution, it's still very much a virtual institution where young artists are still like, well, how can I join? How can I be a part of this? And to not have it there creates this sort of misguided notion that maybe we did not have a culture. And for us to have survived for 30 years means that we have, not just us as a collective, but Black women artists in general.
Those elements of being in community and with one another, we're all woven in together, and we're a huge part of the way that we design the curriculum.
The experience for me has been just really kind of confirming that art is a solution, art is a way to bring people together. And doing the kind of art flocking and green leadership with their own confidence to do things, to create art or to register to vote or to make something happen in the community is kind of what everybody needs to be learning, so that ownership is felt by a new generation to this place.
Our next visit was to the studio of Hector Duarte in Pilsen, which was just an amazing thing in and of itself to see the working space of an artist. And we started making the butterflies for our culminating project.
Mi nombre es Héctor Duarte, soy pintor y vivo aquí en Pilsen, dentro de un gigante que está afuera. Dentro de un gigante. Pinté este mural afuera que se llama Gulliver en el País de las Maravillas, y estoy haciendo alusión al gigante, pero cambió un poquito la historia. La historia es un gigante latino que cruzó la frontera y ahora se está liberando, está atado con alambre de púa, y el alambre de púa representaría lo que es la frontera. Pero ese gigante representa a 11 millones de personas que no tienen pues, su registro oficial aquí en este país, pero esos 11 millones pagan impuestos y no pueden disfrutar de los beneficios de este país. Entonces es un llamado a la gente para que podamos presionar a los políticos para que pasen la ley de amnistía o una nueva ley de migratoria, para que puedan quedarse aquí pues y disfrutar del sueño americano, que es lo que ofrece este país, pero parece que ya no. Una cosa interesante es cuando llegué la primera vez acá, me sorprendí cuánto mexicano había. Y dije, calor, ¿qué están haciendo estos acá? Y pues tan lejos de la frontera. Se me hizo raro y a la vez me gustó, porque pues aquí ya podía sentirme como en casa, ¿verdad? En Pilsen, además. Al ver toda esa referencia de tantos mexicanos tan lejos de México, y después me di cuenta, aprendí que había unas mariposas que iban de Canadá hasta Michoacán. Dijo, pues es mi estado, ¿qué pasó? ¿Por qué yo no sabía eso? Nadie sabía en realidad. Fue un canadiense, un profesor canadiense que descubrió eso y les siguió el rastro y fueron a dar hasta Michoacán. A partir de eso empecé a relacionarlo con la migración de los mexicanos, de michoacanos, hasta aquí. Y esa fue la primera conexión que hice, de que las mariposas son migrantes y nosotros también, pero ellas van y vienen y nosotros ya no regresamos. Aquí me di cuenta que lo que había dejado en México, la cultura, porque aquí todo es diferente. A las nuevas generaciones trato de mostrarles, de enseñarles algo de México, porque muchos pues nacieron acá y ni español hablan, entonces les trato de inculcar y decirles, si tú conoces tu cultura, tú puedes aprender de tus raíces y a la vez mejorar en el futuro. Puedes crear una cultura nueva y tomar lo mejor de la cultura mexicana y lo mejor de la cultura de aquí, de este país. Cada quien puede rehacer su cultura dentro de esta ciudad. Y si no se hiciera así, otra vez quedaríamos asimilados y perderíamos de dónde venimos. Y la memoria se perdería. Por eso es importante ir en contra de la globalización, pues en todos los aspectos, porque nos hacen olvidar nuestras tradiciones, olvidar nuestra forma de vivir de cada quien, de cada tradición, y así no la pasamos a los niños. a los jóvenes. Y necesitamos que siga vivo esa llama para que no se pierda la memoria cultural. Si uno no conoce de dónde viene, no podría uno hacer ningún cambio, porque estamos metidos, inmersos en esta forma de vivir y no vemos para los lados, no vemos para atrás. Esta cultura no tiene historia, entonces tenemos que cambiar eso, tenemos que regresar y eso es parte de la médula del futuro, si no, nada va a pasar y vamos a seguir repitiendo, como digo, los errores del pasado.
The way that I was able to sort of like see this work firsthand and hear Hector Duarte in his studio talk about his own work, his paintings, I sort of realized that it's all about like our own human experiences and how we're able to pass those on, like by teaching a skill, like by creating art together.
I've learned a lot working with young people in the city of Chicago on making art. I've realized it's a very resilient city. It's a city where young people are oftentimes summarized and put into categories and boxes, and art allows for them to begin that lifelong journey of self-definition and finding out their talents and their abilities. And hopefully what Azucena and myself have been trying to share with the young people here is providing some sort of good for them and providing them with an opportunity for growth and learning more about who they are and what they can accomplish.
If you put too much like spread it out.
Youth just love making art. They love exploring with the material. They love learning about the artists we're introducing them to, especially because, you know, at school they learn a lot about typical artists like Picasso, Van Gogh, but they never, you know, sometimes they don't get the opportunity to learn about Chicago-based artists. So it's really nice just giving them this artwork that comes from, you know, people that are from here, from Chicago, especially people of color, because I feel that youth need to learn about, you know, art doesn't just come from one person, it comes from many, like, different cultures.
One artist that I got to meet through Young Cultural Stewards was Hector Duarte, and I kind of really liked meeting him because I'm Mexican, he's Mexican, he was from that background, and his mural has so much of a story behind them, which is really nice to see that artists really care about what they bring to the world. When he tells the story of how he came and what inspires him, it like really touched my heart because it's like the power of art, I guess you could say.
As an artist, as a creative, you need to have a variety of different experiences to fill your creative well. And even in developing as an artist, it's important for you to see your forebears, to see your elders, to see models of success that are doing the same sorts of things that you might like to do.
For the past 6 weeks, we have been doing a lot of art and like opening up to one another, and we've been focusing on butterflies. So the first to second week we're focusing on the egg of the butterfly. Once we're like an egg, we're kind of protected, and like when we get a caliper, we get to like roam around, and the cocoon is like when we really like focus on ourselves and like close up. But then once we come out, it's like a butterfly, and you could see how we have changed.
There's elements of the butterfly and it connecting back to the themes of the art of flocking and nature. I think it's really profound because it really is relating it to the idea of complete transformation.
I think that it's important to talk about power and transformation in these communities because so many times it feels like we don't have power and we don't have control over the things that happen in our surroundings, and we're trying to plant the seed that one, we do have power and we can use art as a form of, like as a tool, that we can change our communities ourselves, that one can change ourselves, that we're the ones that we've been waiting for. We don't need anybody else.
All these artists I met inspired me to do more art and to be something I couldn't imagine I would be. Meeting Arlene in person was inspiring because we've talked about how she started, when she started painting on the streets. She started painting and showing off to her friends. So that's what inspired me. I've been painting in the streets too. I put myself out there, which is really scary, but it ended up being something like coming out of my shell, and I'm really glad I have. And my parents are like proud of me too.
I'm from the South Side, so seeing work like this being done in my particular neighborhood is beautiful, and just to be a part of it is life-changing because you get to make an immediate impact on not only your neighborhood but kids that will affect them in their future. And it's imperative that our work is being done in these communities because these are the communities that lack resources and also lack faces in the community. So it's even more empowering for them to see individuals that look like them and sound like them doing work in their community and to let the youth know that we care for them.
In addition to the art making, I think a really huge part of the program was this sort of like social and emotional world that we as teaching artists and also like the kids in the park that were participating in the program was sort of navigating together.
Like when I first got to the park and the field trip, I only knew about like 2 or 3 people, including my sister. So I ain't know many of the people. But then we started hanging out a little bit more at the field trips, you know. Everybody got to know each other, and yeah, we have like good talents out here, and so we just put them to use.
I think it's important that we learn about each other because other people are so evolved around themselves, they're not really opening up to other people. And once you get to know other people, you get to know other stories and other backgrounds.
This program really helps people learn what they're made of and learn what others are made of, and it kind of brings peace in one environment. And if you can do that in one environment, then you can do that in one community, which is really cool.
Here, you're learning to take out your emotions, you're learning to be friends, have family, just rely on other people. We have all these conversations about friends and where we come from, and like we all just kind of listen and we all just bond together. It's more than painting because you build friendships, families, and you could fall on that when you're like down deep and you need to come up to the clouds. Like there are people that you can talk to here that just helps you do anything.
So today we're at 31st Street Beach for our culminating event. We brought some of the work that we made over the summer. The kids made murals from the west side. In particular, the art that we did on the south side. We made the one-day houses where kids reflected on houses that resemble the homes in their communities, but also the power of fixing things and taking control of your own neighborhood.
Our culminating event at the end of the Art of Flocking was a butterfly parade at the Margaret Burroughs Beach. We partnered with the Jabberwocky Marionettes and young people from the Young Cultural Stewards and Artsy programs created butterflies from across 22 different parks in order to imagine a world without borders. We had a procession that went to La Ronda Paracata, Hector Duarte's public sculpture within the Burnham Wildlife Corridor. And it was really this opportunity for young people all across the city to come together, to play, to laugh, to honor these artists. Sapphire and Crystals were there. Juarez Hawkins and Arlene Turner Crawford did a beautiful ceremony, really thanking the ancestors. They created an altar in the space. Hector Duarte talked about the significance of Paracata and the migration of the monarch butterfly. And the young people really got to be celebrated.
It was just kind of a culminating expression of just being free and like playing in the beach and doing artwork and running around with butterfly wings. It was one vision for freedom and for transformation.